Chapter 1. The Butterfly Effect of 1907. 50 feet below the burning streets of Berlin, a man sits in a concrete room. Above him, an empire that was supposed to last 1,000 years is turning to ash. He is trembling. His health is failing. The absolute power he once wielded over millions of lives has been reduced to a few damp, claustrophobic rooms. But to understand how the world caught fire, you cannot start in this bunker in 1945. You have to rewind 38 years. You have to go to a quiet room in Vienna, where a panel of art instructors is looking over a portfolio of landscape paintings. They make a decision, a simple, bureaucratic decision. They reject the young artist. They tell him he lacks talent. They had no idea that by closing the doors to an art academy, they were opening the gates to the deadliest conflict in human history. Who was Adolf Hitler before the rallies, before the swastikas, before the world learned to fear his name? He wasn't a mastermind born with a grand design. He was a drifter, a failed artist living in homeless shelters, shoveling snow to buy bread. So how does a ghost in the slums of Vienna become the architect of the Holocaust? The answer isn't just dark, it's terrifyingly simple. Because before he learned to conquer nations, he learned to conquer minds. And his first great realization happened not in a boardroom, but in the mud and blood of the trenches. Chapter 2. The Crucible of the Trenches. August 1914. Europe plunges into the First World War. For the young drifter, this isn't a tragedy, it's a salvation. For the first time in his life, Hitler has a purpose. He joins the Bavarian army. He serves as a dispatch runner, a highly dangerous job, dodging artillery and sniper fire to deliver messages across the wasteland of the Western Front. He survives almost impossible odds. In 1916, his dugout is hit by a shell. Most of his comrades are killed. He walks away with a wound to the thigh. In 1918, a British mustard gas attack leaves him temporarily blind. It is in the military hospital at Passweg, his eyes wrapped in bandages, that he hears the news. Germany has surrendered. The war is over. To the soldiers, it feels like a betrayal. The empire has fallen. In his darkness, something shifts. The failed artist dies. A radicalized fanatic wakes up. He returns to a shattered Germany, a country crippled by debt and desperate for answers. But he doesn't have an army. He doesn't have money. What he discovers next, however, is a weapon far more powerful than artillery. Chapter 3. The Weaponization of Anger. Munich, 1919. The German military assigns Hitler to a bizarre new job. They want him to spy on radical political groups. One evening, he is sent to observe a tiny, disorganized fringe group meeting in a beer hall, the German Workers' Party. They are nobodies, just a handful of angry men arguing in a dimly lit room. Hitler is there to take notes, but during the debate, he cannot stay quiet. He stands up, he speaks, and for the first time, he discovers his terrifying gift. Hitler's voice is magnetic. He channels the collective rage, the humiliation of the lost war, the crippling poverty of the Weimar Republic, and he focuses it into a singular, dark energy. He stops spying on the party. He joins it. Within a year, he takes it over. He renames it the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazis. Designs his flag himself, the stark red background, the white circle, the black hooked cross, a symbol that will soon be burned into the memory of the world. But a symbol and a voice are not enough to take a country. For that, he needs a crisis. And in 1923, Germany gives him exactly what he needs. Chapter 4: The Failed Coup and the Manifesto. Hyperinflation destroys the German economy. People are buying bread with wheelbarrows full of cash. The public is starving. They are desperate. Hitler decides it is time to strike. November 1923, the beer hall putsch. He attempts to overthrow the government in Munich by force. It is a disaster. Police open fire. 16 Nazis are killed. Hitler is arrested and charged with high treason. By all historical logic, the story should end here: a failed radical locked in a cell at Landsberg prison. But the trial becomes a stage. He uses the courtroom to broadcast his ideology to the entire nation. Instead of a lifetime in the dark, he is given a light sentence. And in his cell, he begins dictating a book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle. It is a blueprint for madness. In it, he openly outlines his extreme anti-Semitism, his hatred for democracy, and his desire for Lebensraum, living space, in the East. He tells the world exactly what he plans to do. No one takes it seriously. They dismiss him as a political extremist whose time has passed, but they fail to realize one crucial detail. Hitler is patient, and he is waiting for the world to break again. Chapter 5: The Illusion of Legality. 1929. The Great Depression hits. Millions of Germans lose their jobs overnight. The moderate government collapses into paralysis. Fear takes over, and fear is Hitler's preferred currency. He doesn't try a violent coup again. He puts on a suit. He uses the democratic system to destroy the democratic system. He flies across the country, giving dozens of speeches a day. He promises order out of chaos. He points the finger of blame at the Jewish people, communists, and foreign powers. He simplifies a complex global crisis into a brutal, terrifying narrative of us versus them. By 1932, the Nazis are the largest party in the Reichstag. On January 30th, 1933, political elites make a fatal miscalculation. They appoint Adolf Hitler as Chancellor of Germany. They believe they can control him. They believe the office will tame the radical. Within weeks, the Reichstag building burns to the ground. Hitler blames a communist plot. He demands emergency powers. Civil liberties are suspended. Freedom of speech is erased. Political opponents are dragged into the night. The democracy is dead. The dictatorship is born. But the ultimate horrors of his vision are only just beginning to take shape. Chapter 6: The Machine of Terror. What follows is the systematic dismantling of human rights. The Nuremberg laws strip Jewish citizens of their citizenship. The Gestapo, the secret state police, weave a network of informants through every neighborhood in Germany. And then comes 1939, the invasion of Poland, the spark that ignites the Second World War. Hitler's armies utilize blitzkrieg, lightning war. They crush Poland, sweep through France, and drive the British into the sea at Dunkirk. For a brief, terrifying moment, it seems the swastika will fly over all of Europe. But behind the advancing armies, a far more sinister machine is built: the Holocaust. The industrial, state-sponsored genocide of 6 million European Jews, alongside millions of Soviet prisoners, Romani people, people with disabilities, and political dissidents. It is a crime of such unimaginable scale and cruelty that the world is still grappling with its scars today. While his military begins to face defeat in the freezing winters of the Soviet Union, Hitler does not halt the death camps. He accelerates them. The ideology always overrides the reality. The empire is stretching too far. The Allies push back from the west. The Soviets close in from the east. The 1,000-year Reich is collapsing after just 12 years, which brings us back to the bunker. Chapter 7. The Final Descent. April 1945. Berlin is surrounded. The sound of Soviet artillery is a constant, deafening roar above ground. Below, Hitler is a shadow of the man who mesmerized millions. He is 56, but looks decades older. His left hand shakes uncontrollably. He moves non-existent armies on a map. He issues orders to generals who have already surrendered. The master of propaganda is finally trapped by his own illusions. On April 30th, the reality can no longer be denied. Soviet troops are just blocks away. He dictates his final will and testament. He refuses to take any responsibility for the ashes of Europe. He retreats to his private study. A single gunshot echoes through the concrete halls. The story of Adolf Hitler does not end with a glorious final stand. It ends in the dark, self-inflicted, hiding from the consequences of a world he broke. He left behind a shattered continent, tens of millions dead, a testament to the catastrophic danger of allowing hatred to disguise itself as hope. The history is written, but the warning remains.